Well, big hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Vitamins, proudly presented by St.Lukes. Of course, the Jack Jumpers helping St.Lukes make Tasmania the healthiest island on the planet. We're getting to know some of the key people, players and personalities at the Jack Jumpers as we defend the island in NBL 26. Thanks so much to everyone who's listened to our first couple of episodes. Had some great feedback so far, and we've got a very special guest today. The one and only Kayla Steindl, a familiar face and name in Tasmania these days, but she's a former professional basketball player whose career spans both the United States and Australia. Born in the US, she rose to prominence playing college basketball for Gonzaga University, drafted to the Minnesota Lynx in the WNBA draft before switching leagues to the WNBL, starring for the Townsville Fire, the Perth Lynx and the Adelaide Lightning. She's now a qualified education teacher, but she's applying her trade and her breadth of skills as a key part of the soon-to-be named Tasmanian WNBL franchise. Of course, she's the much better half of inaugural Jack Jumpers captain Clint Steindl, a mum to two, juggling it all, and importantly, her official title now, the Assistant General Manager of the Tasmanian WNBL team. Kayla Steindl, welcome to Vitamins.
Thank you, KB. What an introduction.
Have you had a call on better than that? Probably not as detailed.
No, definitely not in the last 10 years anyway.
Back to the glory days.
Yeah, I feel a bit younger now. Thank you.
Tell us about your new role. You've been around the traps for a little bit, embedded yourself nicely in the office and the organisation. Tell us about how your new role's going.
Yeah, it's going, so that's a good thing. Yeah, I guess I've been in the office since July, just before the announcement was made, and yeah, slowly finding my way. It's good to sit in next to Darren Smith and just try and take in as much knowledge as he's got for the game and the business itself. So yeah, slowly sort of figuring out my role and getting good at having a chit chat on the telephone with some people, and yeah, it's exciting. So that's part of hopping out of bed every morning is something I look forward to. Whereas I haven't always had that in my career, so very exciting. I get to come in, check my emails, see who needs me, which is something new. And yeah.
It was me this week, getting you on here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Day to day, you're obviously working with Darren very closely across the men's side a little bit, as well as what that looks like in reflecting that in the women's side. Mm-hmm. Tell us about your relationship with him and what you've learnt so far.
Yeah, so I feel like every contact that I've needed, Darren's been able to.
He's got a pretty big phone book.
Yes. So yeah, just sitting next to him and seeing what his day-to-day looks like makes me a bit more anxious, a bit more excited for what's about to come. And then yeah, obviously being a part of a successful men's team as well. So watching him do all of his magic with getting in a new import while one was injured. So he was doing that in between flights on our way up to Townsville for the preseason tournament for the WNBL. And just, to see what he got done in a short amount of time was just, I don't want to give him too much credit, but quite amazing. I've certainly picked up that I've got to be able to fluff talk, is what he called it. Because, he's definitely got the gift of the gab in a good way, obviously. So, yeah, seeing his day-to-day, it's quite intense, and hopefully being able to sit and sort of watch him and observe him for the next 8 months will only help our women's side.
Transitioning into this role or coming across your desk or radar, you were teaching high school, part-time, not that long ago. How does it compare, and sort of how did the role really appeal to you and motivate you to jump ship into something that the administration side of things rather than the playing side?
Yeah, so when we first moved to Tassie in 2021, I was lucky enough to get a job quite quickly out at Taroona High School doing PE. And then I had our second child, so I obviously was out of work for a bit of time. And then, again, through the connections of the Jack Jumpers and basketball in general, I got another job at Kingston High School doing the athlete development program. And, of course, it was basketball, so it was well-fitting. And that was something I quite enjoyed, something I'm obviously passionate about, basketball in itself. And then being a qualified teacher, it sort of went hand in hand. So it was a really good experience doing that, but I certainly knew in the back of my mind that that's not what I wanted to do forever. So when Christine Finnegan and Darren Smith reached out to me about this role, there's no way I could have passed it up. I don't know if I felt like I was the right person for it. I don't have, I suppose this sort of experience, but basketball is something I know very well. I get along with people. I'm quite easy to talk to, although I'm not good at fluff talking, like I said. So, once I got my head around what the role would be, I just jumped straight into it. And, of course, Clint, being the mindful person that he is, we talked through what that will look like and, not necessarily now, but in a year's time, because right now it's not as busy as what it will be. So, we sort of had to play up how it will look, essentially. And with Clint being retired, freshly retired from basketball, I thought, why not get back involved? And, so here we are. Basically just taking baby steps into how a business works. Like I said, I've never seen this side of the sport, so just the few months that I've been a part of it, I don't know if athletes, I certainly didn't appreciate how much work goes into the behind the scenes before the game is even played. So it's been quite eye-opening. I just have so much more respect for, sport, clubs in general, because, I don't think everyone that gets on the field or onto the court realizes how much work is put into the product that's then, shown on TV. It's been quite eye-opening and, rewarding already.
We'll come back to you. Touched on Clint, obviously, and a big influence and sounding board, obviously, for you. We'll check in on him in just a moment, but you're heading away this weekend. It's a long runway, long but short, into next season as we come into the league 2026, about this time next year. What does the runway look like? And, the season 25 gets underway this weekend. Yeah,
so this weekend is the, I suppose, season opener for the WNBL, and it's Canberra Capitals versus Southside Flyers. So the game's being held at John Cain Arena, and myself and Darren Smith and his beautiful family and my son Noah are actually heading over to Melbourne Friday evening to watch the game. So, we want to get over there and show our support to the WNBL, to show how excited we are to get involved in it. And, like you said, before we know it, the season will be here. So we've got a lot to sort out, I suppose, until that starts. But, sort of a stepping stone to get us into the league next year. So get our faces out there, let people know that we're quite excited and, basically sit back and watch the talent over the weekend. And Darren and I might be having side conversations about, what we see, what we like, and take away what we can from the weekend. And, I suppose the next few months will be lots of basketball on my TV, both men's and women's now. Yeah.
You got a little bit of a taste of the talent pool and what's out there and up and coming at the Townsville tournament a couple of weeks ago in terms of the pre-season. What was the reception like for this new Tasmanian team? One, getting a licence, and two, coming in next year. Yeah,
it was quite a good welcoming when we got up there. Australia being so small anyway, and the basketball world being quite small and tight-knit. Again, Darren Smith knew about everybody in each building we walked into, so that was refreshing. But a lot of people that I know as well. So it was good to catch up, and I could feel the excitement. People that we didn't actually know, Townsville fans would come up and say that they're excited about the new team and how they're actually from Townsville, but they can't cheer. Or sorry, they're from Tasmania, but they can't cheer for the Tasmania team. But they're very excited that one's coming. So, it was really good to see the talent. It's just such a well thought out game, I suppose, the women's side as opposed to the men's side. So, if we can get everyone that we like to see play, and they come to Tasmania, then hopefully we can put a good product out on the floor.
We'll get a little bit more into, I suppose, the strategy behind recruitment and what we want to look like in terms of building on and leveraging off what the Jack Jumpers have created. But let's check in on Clint. Mm-hmm. How is he going? What's he doing at the moment? How is the family?
Yes, Clint is very busy. I guess he's been on school holidays, so he's been doing a couple days of relief teaching and then a few days of contract teaching out at St. Aloysius. And so, yeah, he's the one that's now home at 3:30 every day. So he's picking the kids up and he's prepping dinner and putting on the washing. And yeah, he's really doing it all. I don't want to give him too much credit either, but his transition from being a professional athlete to now essentially a teacher has been quite flawless. And I'm actually quite impressed with him. You know, some athletes, when they lose their sport, they sort of lose their identity or claim to and struggle with that identity thing. But yeah, anyway, Clint's done really well with that. So it's basically playing Mr. Mom, and he's doing it all at the moment. So yeah.
Good cook?
He cooks, yeah.
There is food.
No, he is. He is. He likes to change things up, whereas I just do the same thing over and over again because I know the kids eat it. And he changes things up and throws them off a bit, but yeah.
Now, vitamins, for those who don't know, vitamins is quite a common term at the Jack Jumpers. In daily vitamins is what a player might be, I suppose, deficient in, that whether that's a video session or an extra shooting session, it's whatever the coaches determined they might need on that day. Is that something that you came across in your playing career? Was it called vitamins? And what do you think of that concept?
Yes. So my first year in the WNBL back in 2012 was the first time I was introduced to what vitamins actually was. We just called them individuals, basically. But yeah, you would get on the court with a coach and possibly another player and essentially break down where your deficiencies are and work on whatever that was. So I'm a big body, but I like to pretend I'm a guard as well. So I had a lot of post work, so footwork around the basket, which I then basically created into just a fadeaway shot anyway, because I didn't want to be hit, even though I'm a big body, and a lot of repetition. So a lot of the same thing over and over and over again, which could feel monotonous at times, but you see how it comes out on the court, and when it's successful, it's because of all the vitamins really that you've been doing just repeatedly, really focusing on, I shouldn't say your deficiencies. It was stuff that you work on that you're good at as well, but it was essentially trying to build an overall player and basically get the best out of yourself.
St. Lukes are on a mission to make Tasmania the healthiest island on the planet. To find out more, head to stlukes.com.au. Kayla, let's get to know you a little bit more as a person. For those who don't know you, we have a concept, the starting five. You're always a key member of it. Probably at the five. For most of your teams, particularly Hobart Chargers. Just before we start, we suiting up again next year or TBC?
Oh, I've definitely said I'm not playing. So would it
see how rubber the arm is come January and how busy you are. Probably preparing for a WNBL season off the court. So what, when, where, why, who? Let's start. What are some of your memories of your childhood? Where'd you grow up? And tell us a little bit about your early memories.
Yes. So I grew up in a very small town called Ellensburg, Washington, which is in the northwest of the States. It's actually a lot like Tasmania. Mountains, trees, cold. But it's a beautiful, beautiful place. So we grew up, we weren't farmers by any means, but surrounded by farms. So it's very rural, lots of cows, lots of hay fields, a bit of corn. We spent a lot of time outside, obviously away from the snow if we could. A lot of time up in the mountains. So we'd go up and camping. All my siblings were and are hunters. So they bring home elk in elk season and deer season. And my brother's got I don't actually know what kind of bear it is, but a bear hanging on his wall that he actually shot the day my first niece was born. So I grew up in, very country, small town. And it was my mom and dad. And then I've got 3 older siblings. So sister and then 2 brothers and then me. And basically we grew up, like I said, outside a lot and in the basketball gym. So all of my siblings played basketball. I was always the little one running around causing, havoc at the games. And basically basketball was our thing. Brothers both played football, so we were at the Friday night football games, under the big lights and whatnot. And it was just a big a big, happy country town is basically where I'm from. And I specifically remember sitting outside 4th of July, which is obviously a big celebration in the States, and being excited the years that we could actually shoot off fireworks because it's quite windy where I'm from. And in the summer, it's quite dry. So if there's a fire ban, the hayfield might catch on fire, whatever. So, I've got wonderful memories of sitting out in our front yard. Setting off fireworks.
It's interesting that you say, that part of America is quite like Hobart and Tasmania, and obviously a lot of the farming correlations and those sort of things. Is that why you think you've warmed to Tassie? Obviously, the basketball journey's landed you and Clint and the family here, but do you feel like it is a little bit like original home? Yeah, no, definitely.
I like to tell people that back at home because when they think of Australia, they think of hot red desert, and I think that's what makes Tassie so special, is that it's not like the rest of the country. So, it's really nice being in the mountains. Like, I love hiking. Certainly don't do it enough, but getting outside and out in the mountains, and it's just beautiful and a lot like home. Clint and I are both from small country towns. Clint's from Mackay, Queensland, so not a fast-paced place by any means. So moving to Hobart was quite easy for us, really. And we get annoyed when we've got to stay at one stoplight for more than 2 red lights. So I think we fit right in.
And park at the front door of everywhere.
Yep, exactly.
When did your professional career or your basketball career become a real possibility that could go professional and that could be a real career path for you?
So growing up at home, my dad was adamant that we played 3 sports. So in high school, we all had to do, we all did basketball. The girls, we did volleyball and track. My sister did cross country one year, and brothers played baseball and football. And one year, Joe actually rodeoed. He didn't want to play
Rodeo's a sport?
Yeah. So he did bulldogging. So it basically was like steer wrestling. And Dad didn't want him to do it because it's quite expensive, and we didn't have a horse trailer. That too. That too. Okay. So anyway, bit of everything, but so that sort of made us all. We like to claim being well-rounded athletes. We didn't, direct too much time to one sport, and that was quite common back then anyway. So anyway, when I got to college, that was one thing that my basketball coach was really adamant on, was that being well-rounded athletes, and he liked the fact that all of his team, played 2 or 3 sports in high school, yada yada. So he really liked me for whatever reason. But I remember him actually saying that you could make this a job one day. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I'm just here to play basketball and I'll graduate and go teach. And he was like, no, you can actually, go overseas and make money if you're not in the top 1% of college athletes that go into the WNBA. And I just remember realizing that was even possible. So that was probably my sophomore, junior year of college. So I had either, 1 or 2 years left of college to give my best effort there. But once I finished basketball, we finished our season, and then I actually was lucky enough to go to the draft, and then that's sort of when it got real. My dad and I were in Connecticut at the ESPN studios, and just completely out of place. We had no right being there. But yes, essentially that was when it kicked off, and I actually realized that you could make a living, make a career out of playing the sport that you loved. So a bit later than I probably would have liked to, but anyway, it's been good to me and gotten to me where I am. So yeah.
We move on to where has it taken you. Tell us about that draft night and where that landed you, and then how you actually landed in Australia and broadened those horizons.
Yes. So my dad and my college coach, 2 of my college coaches, we flew over to Connecticut. And I remember Dad being like, oh, we just flew to Rhode Island. Like, we just come back from Rhode Island because that's where we played in the Sweet 16. We lost to Kentucky. They hit a record 3-pointers, and we sat in a zone the whole time because they weren't a 3-point shooting team. And anyway, it's just stuff that you'll never forget.
We can rue that scout for 20 years plus.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, a couple weeks later, we flew back to Connecticut to the ESPN studios, and I remember when they read my name out, I pretty much just froze. But I remember looking at my dad, and he's a bit hard of hearing, and he didn't know they called my name, and so he's just smiling, and I was like, Dad, hug me, stand up, hug me, yeah. And he, oh, okay. And anyway, sure enough,
was it where you going?
No, it was just, oh, your name, okay. Oh, yeah, they'd said where I was going. Yeah. So to Minnesota, and they had won it the year before. And so, their team was completely stacked. Maya Moore, Simone Augustus, Lindsay Whalen, well, the list goes on. They're just like, at the time, the best players in the world. And I thought, oh my God, okay, here we go. So went back to Spokane to where I was at school, packed up my bags, and went off to Minnesota for about 7 days. Come to find out, the camp that week was basically us filling in the shoes of the players that were still in Europe winning, so the really good players. So we had a few days of just us rookies, really, and then, Maya Moore comes back in, and I was, apparently I was guarding her, and she gave me a shot fake from the 3, and I feel like she took one dribble and dunked it on my head, and I remember just going, what am I doing here? I think I'm a bit in over my head. So yes, needless to say, Cheryl Reeves said, we're gonna cut you. So if you want to go back and go to your graduation, you can, or you can stay and play in one of the practice games. And at the time, I really wanted to, celebrate my college time with my friends, and so I actually went back and missed out on the opportunity to play in a practice game. Anyway, went back to graduation and spent time with the people I'd been there with all 4 years. And then I spent the summer at home with my dad, which is really good, looking back at it now, because I didn't think I would, then be in Australia for the next 13 years. So I'm glad I got that summer at home with Dad before coming out to Townsville. And the coach that actually recruited me to play there had coached my sister in Adelaide. So there was a connection there. My sister was 4 hours away in Mackay. So the transition was quite easy. So I did 2 seasons at Townsville, and then I took 1 season off, which Clint had then signed with the Townsville Crocs, so back to Townsville we went. And Clint played for the Crocs, RIP Crocs.
Let's jump ahead. Where did Clint come into the picture?
Right. Well, he was I guess he was in the picture that first year in Townsville. Yep. So 2012, we met, and it was just a hello, how are you, my sister sort of thing. And then that was in 2012, and here we are married 7 years later and a couple of kids. Then we end up getting to Perth, which I actually paved that road for Clinton to get there. No, I didn't, but I was there before he was.
You were there first.
Yeah.
So let's just put that on the record that you dragged Clint to Perth, and he won 3 championships with the Wildcats.
Yes, there
it
you
is
go.
all your fault doing...
Has nothing
feather
to
in
do
the
with
cap.
Bryce Cotton,
Absolutely
Trevor
nothing.
Gleason,
Nothing. Jesse Wags, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's all on you.
Yeah,
Hank
pretty
Clint.
much, yes. Luckily enough, there was a spot that opened up for Clint in Perth, and spent 4 wonderful years in Perth. And then when the opportunity came to come to Tasmania to a new team that hadn't, building from scratch, I thought, is this really a good idea, leaving the Perth Wildcats, arguably the best sporting...
considered gold standard of front office, back office, coaching.
Yep. To go Scott Roth, who, we knew from the previous season, and I guess that's the right call, Clint. If you're set on it, like, I, trust you with everything. And, we obviously got here and just basically struck gold. Like, we've been here now longer than what we were in Perth, and, our support system off the court and away from basketball is just as good as it was previously. So, like I said, we've just struck gold, and we're so happy here.
You had or were pregnant with Noah in Perth?
Yep.
In that whole process?
Yes.
Did you have him over there and then moved to Tassie? That would have been an incredibly tough decision. I mean, I know you gloss over it now. I'm like, trust Clint for a new franchise, something that's not established, but you've also got a new baby in there. Talk us through sort of that decision making and what actually brought you here.
Noah was born just before COVID, December 27th, 2019. So
just on the cusp of the season. Perfect.
Yeah. Yep. So they were playing Sydney in the grand final series, and I think they only ended up playing 2 or 3 games because then whoever didn't want to play anymore because of COVID and yada yada. So anyway,
an interesting year.
Yes. So anyway, it worked out really well because Clint was then home because they'd finished their season. I think it must have been March. It seemed a lot sooner than that. But anyway, so Clint got a lot of time with Noah because then I went back to work because being in WA, we were basically in a different world. So nothing really stopped over there. So I went back to teaching when Noah was about 5 months old. And essentially Clint was a stay-at-home dad for about 2 months there. So it was pretty funny. He was tired.
And in over his head with 5-month-old.
Yes. And then anyway, we both ended up playing the next season. I actually played a WNBL season. Noah came with us. So we were actually away from Clint a lot that next season. I don't know, probably 2 months in total in the end. And then, Clint brought up the possibility of moving to Tassie. So, we spent one more winter over there. And then, got here in September 2021 and hadn't had COVID. And then they opened the borders here and we got COVID.
Straight away. Tell who, and it might lead into, particularly in Tassie, who have been some of the most influential people that have, you say, struck gold, helped you strike gold here in Tassie, and also touching on who have been the most influential people in your life overall.
Right. Well, striking gold, I think, Christine Finnegan. Like, she... from the get-go has made all of us partners of the players just feel really, special and seen and, just as important as the players themselves. So, like the year the Jackies won it, Christine actually, came to my house and picked me up to drive me to the airport to go watch the grand final and has just been really supportive of me as a person or as a mother, I suppose, and then transitioning into this job. Because, I had said, I don't know if I'm the qualified person to be doing this. And her belief in me, has just made me feel, special, I suppose, or like deserving of this role. So anyway, Christine definitely has had a big impact on us. Let's see, who else? My family, really. I don't want to cry.
Your sister, obviously... dragged you to Australia. Are you still quite close with her, and where's she now?
Yep. So
you told me you weren't a crier at the start of this job before the launch of the WNBL. You're like, I never cry.
Yeah, and here
she
I am
always
crying
cries.
Again. It was a simple question. So my sister definitely. She's up in Mackay, so she's 20-minute drive away from Clint's parents. So it would seem natural that we moved back up there to be with them, but we haven't done that. So we don't plan on doing that. But definitely my sister, and then my dad. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So big fans of my career and always there for me. So
we talk a bit about the Jack Jumpers, your why, what gets you out of bed in the morning, what motivates you each and every day, why you do things, the things that you do. Mm-hmm. What is your why?
Yes. So my 2 little children would probably be my why. Literally they are the reason I get out of bed. Cause
sometimes that's got a 5 in it.
Yes. My kids, I get a lot of joy in them seeing me do what I enjoy doing. So, they've got to watch me play a few seasons of Chargers, which has been quite rewarding for me to see them be excited about mom playing. Yeah. And then, especially my daughter, because she is going to be a rather large human like her mother. So for her to see me in a environment that I'm comfortable in and quite, I suppose, confident in myself and my abilities as a big woman in this world. So, definitely my 2 kids. And I suppose Clint, he's... he's been a good support and a good, he's a great husband. So he definitely supports me in all my silly wishes and wants. And, he's always there for me. So again, I don't want to pump his tires up too much, but, probably my husband and children. Mm-hmm.
Now, St. Lukes are on a mission to make Tasmania the healthiest island on the planet, Kayla. So we're going to talk a bit of health.
Mm-hmm.
What is one thing that you do, habit or ritual, that makes you feel your healthiest?
Yes, so we are quite an active family, I suppose. I guess we are. We're athletes before we are what we are now.
That comes with the territory, and the kids don't really get a choice.
Yes, no. So one thing that we do, I quite enjoy, is every day, rain, wind, snow. We get home from school and Noah automatically grabs a basketball or a footy, and we're outside in the front yard kicking the footy or playing basketball. And now that he's gone to a few Jack Jumpers camps, he gets his arm bar out and dribbles through his legs, and he just absolutely loves it. So just moving with our family in any sort of way, riding bikes, or like I said, we like to go on hikes, but we certainly don't do that enough. That's probably what makes us feel the healthiest. And going to the gym, I quite like doing that for my own personal mental health. So as much as I do love being with my children all the time, it is good to have a break and take care of myself physically, because I know mentally I feel a lot better if I'm exercising.
Yeah. What about food? Is there a recipe that almost makes you feel good? It might be a emotional connection or something to home.
We do eat a lot of the same thing, but in a different way.
Well, you've said that. What are some of the same things?
We have a lot of mashed potato or chips.
Yep. Potato in all its forms.
Pretty much. Yep.
Comforting. Yep.
Potato. Yep. With ketchup, tomato sauce, I suppose. No, but a healthy we do. It's actually quite funny. We get a bag of salad and put a bit of dressing on it, and the kids they love salad, which is just, I find hilarious, because a lot of people say, they can't get their kids to eat vegetables.
Anything green?
Yes, and mine pick out, carrots out of my plate and whatnot. So,
Noah's training for bulk nutrients.
Yes.
Flex cam.
Yeah, thanks to the flex cam, he now eats eggs to bulk for the flex cam. So,
okay, he's learning about protein.
Yes, so we probably sound like crazy people telling our kids, to get their protein in, but it correlates with Noah that he gets to go, show his muscles off. So if you ever hear us saying to our children to get their protein in, it's purely off comedy.
What about connection? You found some really good connection with the community here in your time here. We know how important connection is to our overall well-being. Is there something that you do to bring connection into your life?
I think just, staying connected with the players' partners that I was first here with. So Michelle Weeks, shout out to Jay Weeks and Michelle for being just the loveliest people. But just really, literally staying in contact with those types of people, because it's, so easy to get caught up in your day-to-day life and not, communicate with the people that you should be quite often. So I think just maintaining conversation with people, especially being away from home. I try and get in phone calls to family every week. Definitely my dad every couple of days. Communicating really would be my connection.
As you develop a strategy for the WNBL, how important is creating that connection and really bolstering that side of the club, because the vast majority of players who are coming here with a brand new team, and a little bit like you did when you came from Perth, I suppose how much of a sell is that in terms of what the club can provide in terms of that connection? Yeah,
so I think, obviously Scott's been a very successful coach here at the Jack Jumpers, and he's just gone about it the right way. All of the people that he brings in, it seems like they're all just, genuine, good human beings that are here for the right reasons. And that's really what we want to copy. It's more fun and more, you find more success when you're with the right people. And obviously then winning on the court is, the tip of the iceberg that you're aiming for. Really just finding the right people that fit our community. I guess I can say that because I'm staying here. I can, vouch for moving into a new club with husband and dog. Actually, the dog was probably the most expensive part to move. But yeah, I've been in that position, so I think, you know, I could be a good sounding board maybe for people. Moving into something unknown, I guess it was a bit more of a jump of, or a leap of faith, I suppose, back then, because there was no men's team to go off of. So now that we've got a team to, you know, build off of, hopefully we can provide that support for the team and, you know, their partners and kids if they have kids, or dogs if they have dogs. And trying to get in the right people with the right mindset. Often
professional athletes and these women who are probably at different stages in their WNBL and basketball career, very transient lifestyle, year here, a couple of years there. I suppose how different is Tasmania in terms of that connection to community, the wrapping your arms around new people and making them Tasmanian, whether they like it or not.
Yeah. Well, the first neighbor that we had when we moved here 4 years ago, she, you know, we still see her every month, and she still watches the kids, and, you know, Noah's dummies are planted in her backyard as a dummy tree to get rid of them. Anyway.
Thank God you got rid of them.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I think, because it is such an exciting time, people will naturally just, gravitate towards exciting things. And if we bring in the right types of people, they should, you know, the Tasmania community should just want to wrap their arms around them and support them. But yeah, like you said, for women, it's a bit different because it's only 6-month contracts. So even if you're contracted to a team for 2 years, essentially you'd still leave to play over the winter season. So hopefully trying to build some continuity with players remaining or staying, you know, maybe providing longer contracts if possible, whatever that may be, to get them to stick around and sort of build that relationship with the locals, because it is, like I said, it was just an easy transition once we got here and we started meeting people and getting into the community and seeing what this place has to offer. It was quite easy, really.
Imagine how a change of outlook can change your outcome. St. Lukes are working towards making Tasmania the healthiest island on the planet. To find out more, head to stlukes.com.au. Kayla, it's been amazing chatting to you, getting to know you a little bit more. We're up to the final buzzer. A little bit less high pressure than probably the buzzer beater of your playing days. Some quick fire questions just to get to know the top level stuff. What's your coffee order?
Flat white.
You're very boring. Favourite childhood TV show?
Yeah, this might be a bit weird, but I'm of the era where we used to watch music videos.
Okay, yeah.
Right? So,
like, what's the US equivalent of Rage? We had Rage in Australia. And that was Saturday
like
morning.
MTV used to just play music videos all day, but country music television, so CMT over in the States was what I would watch every morning, looking at the back of the box of my cereal box, watching country music television. Clint would be so embarrassed I said that.
What was your first car?
It was a 1989 white Nissan Maxima, and it had the electric seatbelt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I didn't actually then put my lap belt on. It's very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
I would never let my children do that.
Most interesting person you've met along your professional journey or your career?
Yeah. Well, I've been lucky enough through Clint to meet some pretty remarkable people. But I do have to admit, when Dirk Nowitzki was at the training center,
that's pretty cool.
Clint rang and said that he was here. I said, yeah, okay.
Get here.
Yeah. And he said, I'm serious. And we were there within 10 minutes. So anyway, and he was such a genuine person, asking me questions about myself, and I didn't feel like I was talking to this absolute superstar. He just, was lovely. Anyway, that was one of the coolest moments of my life.
That was a very cool day in club history.
Mm-hmm.
Your favourite Jack Jumpers jersey ever?
Yeah, so probably the inaugural season, the first one.
Yeah.
The very simple green with the yellow stripe up the side.
It's synonymous with Kayla Steindl.
Yes.
I feel.
Yeah. Well, so Noah
legacy
had
piece,
that.
and it's currently at the Tasmanian Museum and Art Gallery for just a few weeks longer. But it's it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So Noah was in that jersey, and now Addie's in it. So it's hanging on in our house.
Yep. Until Addie outgrows it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how she hasn't yet.
What's your star sign, and does it say anything about you?
Yeah, well, because I was 18 in Byron Bay, so I got a scorpion tattoo because I am a Scorpio.
Where is it?
It's on my hip, and the kids think it's a spider, so that's cool. Mom's got a spider tattoo.
What's your favourite phone app?
Well, I do spend a lot of time on social media, aimlessly scrolling, but it is nice to, feel like I can keep up on what everyone's doing back at home. But the kids do get on my phone and take lots of pictures. So that's, I find a lot of...
You got to clear out the camera roll?
Yeah, a lot of joy in seeing Noah's face 100 times over and over again.
What are you reading, watching, or listening to?
So I just started The Silent Patient, which is a bit of a psychological thriller.
It sounds creepy.
Watching, I just watched the Monster series of Ed Gein.
Also creepy.
Yes. And I listened to The Crime Junkie.
Okay.
So, needless to say, Clint and I don't read, watch, or listen to anything of the same interest.
Same thing. Yep. Okay. Who is on your most recent or most frequent call list?
Definitely Darren.
Yeah.
I feel like I would text him and then he'd give me a one-word answer. So I just ring him and say, "This is actually,
No, I need more."
yeah. Can I get more than one word response? So, yeah, probably Darren. As much as he hates or is annoyed by me calling him constantly. But yeah.
And what's one thing that you do to stay healthy?
One thing I try to do, I just stay active. Yep. Keep my body moving, even in the cold months. Wake up, have a nice coffee, and move my body.
Yeah. Kayla, thank you so much for joining us today. That's all we've got time for, but it's been an absolute pleasure to get to know you. Can't wait for the journey ahead, runway into the first WNBL season that Tassie will have in the new league, New Look League, and hopefully not too far away is a new team name. You're working feverishly away in the background, doing brand stories and bringing it to life.
Doing a lot of the work in the background. No, I'm not, but I know there's a lot of work, more work than probably planned to get that up and going. So yes, hopefully we can reveal soon.
Yeah. No, thank you, Kayla, for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
That is all we've got time for on today's episode of Vitamins presented by St.Lukes. Of course, make sure you follow us on social media on the Jack Jumpers page at the moment and the soon-to-be WNBL pages as well to keep across everything that's happening. A huge thanks once again to our friends at St.Lukes, and thanks for joining us. Stay tuned for the next episode.